This may not come as a surprise to you, but in the end, every one of us is completely and absolutely alone. In a certain sense, it's true of your entire life. In a way, you find comfort in the company of others. But to be honest, we rarely know another person. We create, if you will, a story about other people. And that's what we relate to. And if we don't like the story, we tend to move on or not engage. If we don't feel a connection with others, with another, we look elsewhere. We like people whose story adds to our story. Usually who make us feel, I was going to say good about ourselves, but for some people it's not that. Some people like to feel not good about themselves. And some people help them do that. Rudy used to talk about vampires in his life. He would find people with whom he had this incredible flow until he realized that the flow was all one way. Every part of his being was being drained by somebody else, leaving him empty. And at some point, he decided, I don't want that. And he would leave those people. Mostly, reality reminds us that it's just us. With all the help we get from others, with all the love, support, connection that we think we're getting, it all comes down to I come into this world alone, I leave this world alone. And there's this huge question that comes up for those who wish to ask it. What's it all for? What's this whole journey for? And some people look for answers to that question. Some people never ask the question, and some people are very happy to settle for other people's answers. But it's, in the end, something you have to answer for yourself. What is this for? One thing for certain, it's a mystery. And the answer is not easily given. I saw a movie the other night called The Butler. And this man who serves all these presidents, at the end of his life, says, I never imagined I would get to this age and still feel so lost. Having gotten to that age, I will tell you, answers do not come with age. Mostly you're alone with all of your questions. One very interesting thing that happens when you get old, when you're at the end of your life, or the end of your productive life, let's say, is you really wonder, what was that all about? Truly, what was that, all that effort about? What was I trying to do? What was I thinking I was going to get from all of this? It all seems strangely dreamlike and empty. I watch people who get old and they fixate on certain parts of their life, the thing that worked or didn't work, usually the thing that didn't work. There's a kind of annoyance, a kind of sense of betrayal. You lived your whole life pursuing something in a way, I've described this before, that it didn't add up. Meaning it didn't give you what you were looking for, and of course most people don't know what they're looking for, so how can it give you what you're looking for? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? Some of you find a teacher. And the great thing about finding a teacher is usually that teacher is so assured about what one is looking for that you go, oh, they know the answer, and therefore I'm about to get the answer. I will get it. I was sure I was going to get it from Rudy. I was sure he was telling it to me every time. And I visited a lot of teachers, trying to feel who of all these teachers has the right answer. And I decided Rudy was the one. And among other things, I never got the answer while he was alive, and then he died. So I figured, well, I just have to keep at it, you know. And Rudy prescribed this idea that you have to sit every day and work deeply and go inside and open your heart chakra, open all of your centers, and the answer is within. And I did that. And I will tell you, particularly in my heart chakra, I kept finding this one very simple thing, which was love. When I opened my heart chakra, I felt temporarily the sweetness of connectivity, not to anybody outside, although sometimes it reflected itself that way. I felt connected to myself. I felt love for myself. Not for Bruce so much, although I didn't know that, but just for being. It didn't come from doing anything or achieving anything, it just was there. I mean, the thing that was achieved in a way was I went into my heart and I just sat there long enough asking for help to surrender, which was Rudy's teaching. And there I was, and then it arrived, or more precisely, it was there. And I just went. And then on a regular basis I would lose it. I would have it for a little bit and I would lose it. And some days I would sit down doing all the same things, asking for help to surrender, opening in every way I could, and it wouldn't be there. Nothing was there, nothing was there. And so when nothing was there, that to me was something was wrong, and I was doing something wrong. And when something was there, I was doing something right. And so there was always an effort to have the right thing happen and to avoid the wrong thing. And yet they seemed almost in equal measure. Many, 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 many years later, this awakening occurred. And the Bruce idea, the Bruce story, fell away, but I was still here. It wasn't really Bruce so much, it was just this, whatever this is. And boy, does that begin questioning. You know, it's no longer about your story, it's about you. What are you? Who are you? What is this self that we are? Because we're there whether the story's there or not, and I have to say, all of your stories were no longer so meaningful to me in the sense of how do they fix and help Bruce alone. They became meaningful to me in that you looked to me like people who didn't know any more than I did. You were all selves, every one of you a self in search of this one thing. What is that thing? It has to do with, what is this about? What is this for? Why? Why are we here doing this thing? Whether it's in class or whether it's pumping gas, what are we doing? And again, quite simply, every so often, I would be flooded with love, easily arrived at with my granddaughter. You all know when I talk about Talia, it comes like that. It comes sometimes from other sources. It comes from my wife. It comes from, a chocolate chip cookie. Things come, and and it's so wonderful. And then there's whole long periods where nothing comes. And the realization for me is, it's all the same. Love, no love. Joy, no joy. Everything, nothing. It's all one totality. And reaching for one over the other is completely natural for one to do. But in truth, it's all part of what is. Yes, you want one over the other, but you don't always get one over the other. Some days you go to the cupboard and there's nothing in it. Other days it's overflowing. And you go, thank you. But then you can't really walk around going, damn it, there's nothing in the cupboard. There's no chocolate chip cookies when I want one. It's kind of a ridiculous thing, and yet that's what we do. And slowly, there is this unfolding of one's awareness that goes, it is what it is. What arises, arises. It's not better or worse, more or less. It just is. And somewhere in that is an awareness of what it's for. What is it for? It's for this. It's for this. Right now. Period. It's for the moment you're in. Good or bad, satisfying, unsatisfying, luscious or depraved. It is this. The answer you're seeking, the answer everyone is seeking, is always present. Always present. You can dig into all of it and think it's going to be somewhere in the depth of it, which it will be, but it's also in the shallowness of it. It's right here. Not seeing that is why we're so unhappy as human beings. We don't see the very thing, the miracle of what is right here now. We don't see it because we have these very active minds that are always reaching in other places, which are programmed to reach in other places that have to. the mind clearly will always pull you in other directions, when the one thing you really are seeking is the self from which the mind springs. And the mind looks everywhere except to the obvious. So when you discover a teacher or a teaching that says to you, sit still, meditate, look within, whatever discipline they come from, whatever part of the world they are living in, if you find someone who tells you to do that and you do that, what starts to happen is that deep within you, you start to discover yourself. That which has always been. That which was there when you were born. That which you felt totally connected to in the most remarkable way when you were an infant. You were completely and absolutely yourself, crying, laughing, in a state of wonder, open, looking at the wholeness of being, not knowing that in any way you were separate from it. You were so completely yourself. And then you begin this journey of self-ideation. You become separate. You become this thing, which is exactly in the program. You cannot not do this. You can't. So don't blame yourself for having become an ego. Ego is part of what goes on. But ego is a very important functioning tool in the creation of all of this. And yet it is a soldier fighting a battle it doesn't understand. It doesn't know why it's out there, what it's going through. All it knows is it's programmed for its own satisfaction. Find satisfaction. Find pleasure. Avoid pain. That's all. Go forward. Go into this world and see what you can do. And it wants to see what you're going to do. It loves your journey. It loves all the achievement, and it loves all the mistakes, and it loves everything you do, and it really is totally fascinated by you. In the same way you're fascinated by you, it's fascinated by you. You are an amazing, unique creation that nothing like you has ever existed before. And it so wants to know, what are you going to do in this circumstance? How are you going to play this one out? And it's going to love your mistakes. It's going to be like really bad soap opera. You know, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. I can't believe that. It can't go like that. It can't keep going like that. Oh my God, it is going like that. This guy's messing up his life in the most unbelievable way. Wow. Wow, that's kind of what it watches. Or, what an amazing life. What a brilliant life. Wow. The self is watching all of this with great fascination and also, unfortunately, at some place, total disinterest. The self is very alive. It's very vibrant. At its depth, at the very depth of the ocean, do you think it cares about the shark eating somebody on the surface? No. But at its surface level, does it care? Wow. The shark is loving that leg, and the person is really hating losing that leg. And it's an incredible drama going on, and the self is one with all of that. Every single piece of it. It's one thing. It's one amazing thing. What's it for? It's an answer you have to come up with. You have to answer it. Nobody else is going to give you the answer in a way that will be meaningful. You are going to get old. Those of you who haven't done it yet. Go ahead. So I'm saying there's some of you who have arrived, some of you who haven't, and you are going to start looking at life from a different perspective. Trust me. It is an amazing shift that takes place. You can hardly project it when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And then it starts to hit you. You know, this idea of retirement or the end of something or the leaving of something that was familiar. You look back at it and you go, what was it? What did I do all that for? Some things worked out beautifully, some things worked out terribly. You may have raised children who love you or don't talk to you. You may have all of this wealth, or you may have lost your wealth, or you may have nothing. And all of that, you look at it and you go, what? Why? I mean, not everybody asks that question, but it really is an important one. Because you've got to figure it out. Why? What is it for? What is it for? I can tell you the answer that comes to me, and it's not necessarily the answer that will come to you, nor should it be. But it seems relevant. It seems important. The answer that keeps coming to me is, and I've said this a lot in class, I think, I would go through the entire ride, gain and lose everything, to hug my granddaughter. The love I feel for her, which is temporal and not necessarily something that will live on forever in its same form, but that little spark of love, which isn't so little, is worth everything. Everything. All of the darkness of the universe opposed to this tiny spark of light for this tiny little girl who's growing every day. What kind of balance is that? It's an amazing balance. It's a great yin and yang. This little bit of love makes it worth it. It's what it's for me. As a teacher, I can tell you that, but I don't want to give it to you as the answer because some of you are going to find it elsewhere in different ways. And you may come up with an answer, honestly, that finds nothing, that finds absolutely nothing, which, on some level, may be closer to the truth of reality than the love that I'm finding. I find that in that nothing is love, but nothing is nothing. And the trick is, how do I say yes to nothing? If it doesn't have love, if it doesn't have anything in it, it's just nothing. How do I go, thy will be done? That may be the essence of your practice, the essence of your spiritual life. How do I make peace with nothing? One, that there is nothing. B, that I am nothing. It is total, absolute surrender. I will tell you one thing. Your ego will not make it easy. Your ego will not like that journey. Your ego will fight you to the core. It will make every step of that practice and of that search miserable if it has to. It will cause you to have illusions and dramas and fantasies and hopes and despairs and all of this stuff to keep you from knowing that there is nothing there. Nothing at the center. It will do everything. It will create a universe for you so you don't know. Now, I can hear you even now listening with your ego and going, oh God, nothing. That's the worst thing ever. That's the worst. I mean, how could I possibly want that? How could I root for finding nothing? All I can say, for whatever it's worth, is that somehow that nothing contains this. Somehow that absolute absence of everything contains everything. This comes from that. I get to sit here and know every one of you and love every one of you, and I know that we're nothing. But in this moment of time, in this instant, I feel so lucky and blessed because I know you. because I'm in your presence, because we share something. Out of absolutely empty space, out of infinite nothingness, this has arisen. I don't get it. It is an absolute mystery to me, and if you come to this class looking for an answer to the mystery, I don't have a clue. Not a clue. But I know this is absolutely real in its own way, and I know it is absolutely nothing. It will evaporate like that. It will completely, and it could do it in a second, it could do it in the next second. We don't believe it will, but it can and sometimes does. Gone. But while you have it, to know it as being real and absolutely empty simultaneously is to love and appreciate and honor its existence. You know, I'm going through this thing, I talk about it a lot now, about leaving this paradise, this house, this land, this beautiful space, and how painful it is. How painful it is to leave. For me, and I have to acknowledge for many of you who aren't going to have this either, it's really painful. It is sort of like dying. It is like slow motion departure from paradise, from life itself. But I have never had a better teaching, ever. I don't particularly like it, but I am learning what it means to let go of that which you love. And it is unbelievable how much you can love something. A place, an aesthetic, a look, a feel. But as I've said before, I don't want to not love this place to make it easier to leave it. I want to love it to death. I want to love it to pieces. And I do. I sit on the porch and I cry at night. I go, how can I walk away from this? In the same way you're going to walk away from life. At some point you're going to walk away from everything you love. This is my training ground. It's my practice. It's everything I've studied with Rudy. You can't leave that which you haven't had. You can't let go of that which you don't know. You have to have it, you have to know it, you have to love it, and then you have to let go. And letting go ultimately is not just, oh, I don't care. Letting go is taking a breath, and as I've described it, getting in the car and driving out the drive. That's letting go. We're all going to do that. Every one of us is going to do it. We're each going to have a practice, and we're each going to have to do it completely alone. We're all in this alone. The only difference that a spiritual life makes is that your aloneness is connected to yourself, whereas someone who doesn't have a spiritual life may not feel that connection. To be connected to yourself is, in the ultimate sense, not you and it, it's just it. That self is the generator of everything, and it also has no substance, it has no existence. And if you devote your life to knowing yourself, you will be with the one thing that is going to always be there, even as nothing. This is a very strange ride. It really is. You know, you guys, a lot of you look at life as, well, I got to get up in the morning and the alarm clock and brush my teeth and go to work. I get up and go, what is this? I do it every day. What is this thing? It's so astounding. I don't get it. What are these bodies we have? Why do they come into being? Why do they decompose? Why do we go through this? What is this next moment? Why am I eating this for breakfast? What is this stuff that's going on? It's like endless curiosity now, more than I ever had as a child. And I don't have any answers. But I have such gratitude for the not knowing, for the exploration of life, of living, of this, whatever this is. And now the incredible knowing that they're taking it all away from me. They're taking it all away, piece by piece by piece. You tell me what it is. What's it for? Well, you know, in a few minutes I'll be done with this talk. I'll hug every one of you. That means a lot to me. In a few weeks I'll see my granddaughter. It means a lot. I sit on the porch and I look at the beauty of it and I go, wow, wow. I got to sit in this beauty. I got to see it. And someone else is going to get it when I leave. I got to be the steward of this property. You know, my wife was the real steward. She ran it all. But I got to be here and be part of it. I got to be in this world. I got to be in this life. I got to touch so much of what this life has to offer. And so do we all, every one of us. Whatever it is you get, some of us get paradise, you know, like a nice piece of land or a nice house. Some of us don't get all that. But we all get something. And I look at kids looking at their moms and going, it can't be more beautiful than this. I got a mom that I love so much. Or, you know, playing with the water buffalo and going, wow, I get to play with the water buffalo. And their life is as absolutely full as mine. When I was in India and I watched these kids playing, they knew happiness I didn't even know. They had no money, they had nothing, but a happiness that I couldn't believe. They knew everything we're talking about here. I mean, they may not have known it, but they were living it. We're all living it. Our life is our life, whatever it is. Find its magic, find its beauty, and know it's all going to get taken away. And half of its gloriously wonderful aspect is that it is being taken away, because you would never appreciate it. And I never appreciated this place until they said, you got to let it go. Boy, did I fall in love at that point. And all of you know that. You walk away from a place you never cared about, and suddenly everything about it is beautiful. That's always the case. The thing you didn't love is now suddenly glorious. That's how you need to live. I think that's the lesson. That's how we need to live. Knowing it's all being taken away. All of it. Love it now. Love it now. And that may be what it's for. Love it while it's passing. That's my answer to it. So, any questions?
Isn't what you're saying just about living now in the present?
Sure. What else is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just taking that as an idea. You can say, live in the now.
No, I mean just a concept. I mean something that you actually
you do
actualize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get up in the morning and go, wow. And it's not that you go practice, how do I go, wow. You actually get up in the morning and go, wow.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It suddenly hits you like, this is unbelievable. It's unbelievable that you exist, really. And knowing that is like the miracle. And then if so many of us are trying to get to spiritual truth, you know, to this revelation of truth. This is it.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. I don't care what you get to. I don't care if you get to some cosmic place and you're in a trance and heavens and you know, multiple universes spin by you. You still come back to this. Or you don't. But if you come back to this, this is it. What else is there? This is it. The whole miracle is in this. In this.
So much suffering is wrapped up in what was the past and trying to grab it, it's gone, but you're holding on to it.
Well, that's a big part of suffering.
And the anxiety about not only the past, because you want that back because it was good, we had good experiences, and now they're gone, but also looking forward, there's so much anxiety because what is it going to be? You don't know.
There you
make
go.
yourself crazy.
There you go. You've said the essence of Buddhism. You know, it's suffering. Suffering is past, future. This is all you've got. Middle path, right through the center. This is what you've got. Be present with it and
Enjoy
watch
it.
it unfold. If you look back and you look forward with the human mind, you will experience suffering. That's what suffering is. Learning to surrender and let go is the practice. You know, the great thing about Rudy's practice, which I love, is it goes into all of these essential spots in us, these chakra spaces, and it helps us to open them. Part of the work we do in this class is that we sit there and try to open, and the teacher's energy, which is a self-energy, meaning that it's not Bruce doing it, there's an energy, goes to the blockages inside you and helps open your heart and open your belly and your gut, open your mind, open your ability to express yourself. It opens all these things so you can live a richer version of this. That's a great thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's not the answer. It's just part of a process of giving you a richer, more enjoyable, better life and helping you to dig deeper into yourself to find the self that's there. And then you discover it's not missing anywhere. The self you're looking for is, there's nowhere it's not. It could, but you don't, not knowing that, it's like insanity. We live with this, with God's presence, and we don't know it. Everyone says, where's God? Show me God. You're looking at God everywhere you turn. The carpet on the floor, the ceiling, the sky, the people around you, it's all an expression of this one thing, which is all there is. And is nothing. Okay, it's a long talk, enough. Thank you guys, thank you for coming, and we have a few more of these and we'll continue. Oh yes. When I am gone from here, other people are teaching. One of the wonderful people who are teaching is Michael Galante. He will be continuing these classes in Nyack, New York. There is a brochure, I believe, or a sheet of paper listing where and how to get to those classes. They'll be held every Sunday morning, just like these, at 11. And anyone who wants to go to that class will be welcome. Wade will be teaching. A number of people are teaching. Bruce Denny is teaching. This will be available to people who want to sit and continue what's known as Sangha, the group, the collective group of people pursuing truth in their own way. It's a wonderful thing to do. You're going to miss it when it's gone, and there are places you can go that will fulfill your need. So know that it's there. And I keep saying I'll try to find a way to get back here on occasion. I don't know where here is, but it'll either be at Michael's place or Wade's place or somewhere. We'll try to have occasional sits during the year. But for now, anyway, this is coming to an end, and it will continue through other people. And it doesn't matter that it's other people, because it's all one self. It's all one teacher. It just comes through different bodies and personalities, but it's one teaching.
When is this actually ending? When's the actual, when you...
I don't know the last date, but it's either October 5th or 15th, something like that, in that period. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Huh?
Books and DVDs.
Oh yeah, we downstairs on the dining table, we still have lots and lots of books, about 500 or 600 books, and some DVDs and VHS tapes, which are really good tapes, and you're welcome to take them. We're doing a yard sale on Friday and Saturday, and you can get them for free now. So grab them and enjoy.
And you gotta get some.